The House of Representatives will now come to order. Will all those in the chamber and gallery please rise as we begin our day with prayer by Monsignor Kerwicki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let us bow our heads and pray. Open to us the gates of this morning and reveal to us the glory of a new day as we pause a minute in prayer. We are facing difficult votes and living through a new era. For this, we need and want courage and strength and an inner stability of spirit. Grant to us now the grace of a quiet mind, a steady faith, a strong voice, which will make us more than a match for the mood of this moving moment. Help us to stand up for eternal truths, for obedience to the laws of our land, for the principles of good government, believing that your Spirit will guide us, your power will strengthen us, your presence will bless us, as we firmly believe all that is right and just for Missouri. And the House says, Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Monsignor. All right.
Thanks. Take care.
The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Greene County.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I move for the approval of the House Journal for the 27th day, Monday, February 24th, 2025, and ask for a roll call vote.
The gentleman from Greene County has moved for the approval of the House Journal for the 27th day, Monday, February 24th, 2025, and ask for a roll call vote. Are there any additions or changes to the journal? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the gentleman's motion will vote yes. All those opposed, no. The clerk will ring the bell and open the board. The clerk will close the board and tally the vote. With the yeas being 114 and the nays being 1, you have approved the gentleman's motion. The Speaker hereby appoints the following committee to act with the like committee from the Senate pursuant to House Concurrent Resolution Number 2. Representatives Riggs, Parker, Gregg, Peters, Crossley, Hine, Steinhoff, Hinman, Shields, and Young.
Gentleman from Greene.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be points of personal privilege, and I ask that you recognize the lady from St. Louis County for a point of personal privilege.
The lady from St. Louis County. For what purpose do you rise?
Point of personal privilege, my moment in Black history.
Proceed, lady.
Today in Black history, I introduce to some and present to others my family's hometown of Kinloch, Missouri. Kinloch started off my family with my father being born there, my mother being raised there, all of my brothers, were born there, and I went to preschool there. Kinloch is the first black fourth-class city in St. Louis County. It was incorporated August the 20th, 1948, a city once with a population of over 5,000 in the late 40s, reduced now to just 263, according to the 2020 census. I'd like to recognize a few notable people from Kinloch. Barrett Brooks, a professional football player. He was part of the Steelers Super Bowl, which won the victory over the Seattle Seahawks in 2008, and a graduate of McClure North High School. Pioneer Roy Clay Sr., he was the founding member of Hewlett-Packard's computer division and is known as the godfather of Silicon Valley. Jennifer Lewis, she started her career on Broadway and is now an American film and television actress. Ann Peebles, a retired American recording artist, singer, and songwriter. Lawrence Franks Jr., Huey, an American rapper. But today, my focus is on Miss Maxine Waters. Maxine was born August the 15th, 1938 in St. Louis, Missouri. She was the fifth of 13 children raised by a single mother. She graduated from Vashon High School in St. Louis before moving with her family to Los Angeles in 1961. She worked in a garment factory as a telephone operator before being hired as an assistant teacher with the Head Start program in Watts in 1966. She later enrolled in Los Angeles State College, receiving a bachelor's degree in sociology in 1971. Waters served 7 terms in the California State Assembly, to which she was first elected in 1976. As an assemblywoman, she advocated divestment from South America's apartheid regime. As an American politician and member of the Democratic Party, Waters was elected to the United States House of Representatives for California 29th Congressional District, again for the 35th Congressional District in 1992, and lastly, the 43rd in 2012, with at least 70% of the vote every time. That's amazing. Waters has represented large parts of South Central LA, LA coastal communities of Westchester, Playa del Rey, as well as cities of Torrance, Gardena, Hawthorne, Inglewood, and Lawndale. Waters is now in her 18th House term. She is the most senior of 13 black women serving in Congress and chaired the Congressional Black Caucus from 1997 to 99. She is the second most senior of the California Congressional Delegation after Nancy Pelosi. She chaired the House Financial Services Committee from 2019 to 23 and has been ranking member since 2023. Before becoming U.S. Representative, Maxine Waters was introduced to the Time magazine as the 100 most influential people of 2018. On March 27, 2014, Waters introduced a discussion draft of the House Opportunities Move Economy Forward Act of 2014, also known as the Home Forward Act of 2014. A key provision of this bill includes the collection of 10 base points for every dollar outstanding mortgage, categorizing covered securities estimated at $5 billion a year. These funds will be directed to 3 funds that support affordable housing initiatives, with 75% going to the National Housing Trust Fund. The National Housing Trust Fund will then provide block grants to states to be used primarily to build, preserve, rehabilitate, and operate rental housing that is affordable to the lowest income households and groups including seniors, disabled persons, and low-income workers. The National Housing Trust was enacted in 2008, but has never been funded. In 2009, Waters co-sponsored Representative John Conyers' bill calling the reparations for slavery to be paid to Black Americans. For her tenure as chair in the House Financial Services Committee in the 116th Congress, Waters earned a grade A from the nonpartisan Lugar Center Congressional Oversight Hearing Index. Her caucus memberships include Chief Deputy Whip, founding member and chair of the Out of Iraq Caucus, Congressional Progressive Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus, Medicare for All Caucus, and the Congressional Caucus for Equal Rights Amendment. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Further points of personal privilege. Gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be introduction of special guests.
Lady from St. Louis County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guest.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To your right and my left, underneath the virtue of truth, stands my new friends, Angie Hunt and her son, John Mark. They're here visiting the Capitol today. Angie is with my very favorite radio station in St. Louis, Joy FM, and I asked the House to give them a very warm welcome.
The gentleman from St. Louis City.
Introduction of a special guest.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Excellent. It really is an honor and a pleasure for me to introduce to the House of Representatives. Today we have Kitty Radcliffe, who just retired as president of Explore St. Louis after 18 years of marketing St. Louis and Missouri for economic development and tourism. If the House could make Ms. Radcliffe feel welcome. Thank you.
Gentleman from Scott.
Mr. Speaker, introduction of special guests.
Proceed, gentlemen.
To your right, my left, under the columns of virtue, I have a very special group of women today that have come from the Boot Hill, Missouri. They are business owners, they are teachers, they are artists, they are lawyers. They travel the globe as a group, and today they're in the Capitol. I'm going to turn them over to the good hands of our own Bob Pretty, who will escort them throughout the Capitol today. Please make them welcome.
The lady from St. Louis County.
Introduction of special guest.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you. To my right and your left, standing under equality, is a very special group. They are Cyber Up, and they are here to prepare Missouri for the cyber world. A special shout out to our constituent from St. Louis County, Renita Rhodes, Eddie Williams, Kobe Carson, Christina Engel, Jessica Cassidy, Manuel Garcia. If the House could please welcome our guest from Cyber Up.
The gentleman from St. Charles County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to introduce some special guests, sir.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. I have the honor of having two very special groups here today. The first is a childhood friend, and he is here with his family. Underneath the word progress in the back, that is the Michael Chamber family, and he has with him his wife Caressa, his daughter Makaya, his mother and father-in-law, or excuse me, his mother and father Dennis and Sherry. And I would ask that Makaya would be made a page for the day without compensation, sir.
She will be made a page for the day without compensation. Thank you.
Very good. And I would also like to welcome from Greater STL, the St. Louis extraordinaire. We have Tim Brinker, who is there from the organization, and also Kurt Weigel, who is from there. They are both under the word honor. And also with them is a local St. Louis developer named Jared Holst. And I would ask that the body would give a most hearty welcome to both of these extraordinary groups, please.
The gentleman from St. Louis County.
Introduction of special guest.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, under the column of education, standing next to the lady from St. Louis County, my friend, a man who served in all three branches of government in some capacity as a member of Governor Bob Holden's administration, a member of then Attorney General Jay Nixon's administration, and a former member of this body, my predecessor, the former representative of the 83rd House District, St. Louis County Assessor Jake Zimmerman. I ask the body please make him feel welcome.
Lady from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guest.
Proceed, lady.
To your left and my right in the upper gallery under Liberty and Equality, we have social work class of 2026 from Evangel University in Springfield. Currently, they're in their Policy 2 class. They're here visiting the Capitol today to learn more about the process of policy becoming law. I ask that you make them feel welcome.
Lady from Phelps.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guests.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to your left and my right is the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists. They're here for their Advocacy Day. They're here to advocate for women's health. Thank you guys for being here today. If we could give them a round of applause and make them feel welcome.
The lady from Jackson.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker. I would like to introduce a special guest.
Proceed, lady.
Back in the back gallery, I'd like to take this time to extend a warm welcome to my friends that are representing the Greater Kansas City Coalition to End Homelessness in our Greater Kansas City area. Please have the body give them a warm round of applause.
The lady from St. Louis County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Introduction of special guest, please.
Proceed, lady.
So my very first legislative assistant, Xavier Lukasek, is here between the 5th and 6th column. He has moved on to greener pastures a few years ago, so now that's why he has on his fancy suit and his fancy hair. He now works for the county assessor for St. Louis County. Please welcome him back to the House.
Further introductions. The lady from
Dunklin.
Butler?
Dunklin.
The lady from Dunklin, yes, of course.
Introduction of special guest, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, lady.
Mr. Speaker, I would like to introduce on your right, my left, in between columns 3 and 4, we have today Hanley McAtee, Claire Bean, Coach Janet Hilburn, and Hannah Hunter, the assistant coach. Miss McAtee and Miss Bean are the 3 years in a row state doubles tennis champions representing Kennett and Hawkle, Missouri. So we'd ask that the body make them welcome and congratulate them.
The gentleman from St. Charles County.
Introduction of special guests, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, gentlemen.
In the Capitol with us today, and I believe some may be in the gallery, are representatives from the landscape architecture profession. As representing a county that has more river frontage than any other county in the state of Missouri.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, I was struggling to hear you. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As representing a county with the most river frontage of any county in the state of Missouri, landscape architecture is not only an art form, it's a critical component to municipal, county, and state functions and infrastructure. I just wanted to say hello and thank you to great landscape architects like Susan Mack, Rusty Sanders, Lee Fester, Kenneth Brandel, and Maria Landoni. These are great professionals. I'm hoping the House can make them feel welcome.
Further introductions. The lady from St. Louis City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To introduce special guests.
Proceed, lady.
Mr. Speaker, we have all over the building today students who are student advocates from not just SLU, but from across all of our universities with Empower Missouri to insist and look for your help as legislators to just listen to them. And we ask you to please give all of these student scholars and student advocates a round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further introductions. Seeing none, gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be first reading of House bills and House joint resolutions.
Would the clerk please read the House bills and House joint resolutions?
House Bill number 1439, introduced by Anderson, an act relating to fees paid by offenders. House Bill number 1440, introduced by Anderson, an act relating to Clyde S. Cahill Jr. Day. And House Bill number 1441, introduced by Craig, an act relating to duties of the Department of Social Services.
Gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The next order of business will be House Bills for Perfection, and I ask that you recognize the lady from St. Charles for a motion on House Committee substitute for House Bills 850, 53, and 482.
Lady from St. Charles, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the House Bill 850 be ordered, perfected, and printed.
Can we have some decorum, please? The lady from St. Charles has moved that the House Bill 850 be perfected and printed. Lady from St. Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that HCS for House Bill 850 be adopted.
The lady from St. Charles has moved that the House Committee substitute for House Bills 850, 53, and 482 be adopted. Lady from St. Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the title of HCS for House Bill 850 to be agreed to.
The lady has moved for the title. Is there discussion on the title? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. And the title has been adopted. Lady from St. Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Bill 850 modernizes Missouri's child care licensing system by empowering the Department of Elementary and Second Education to issue and inspect licenses, ensuring all child care facilities meet safety and care standards. The bill introduces temporary license, allowing providers to expand or open new locations while meeting required inspections and training. It also provides flexibility for providers to request variances as long as the child's safety is not compromised, and addresses concern about the facilities near registering offenders. The balanced approach ensures Missouri child care system can grow to meet demands while prioritizing the safety and well-being of children. And I urge you to support this important legislation. Thank you. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Discussion on the House Committee substitute for House Bill 850. Lady from Laclede.
To speak to the bill.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you. I was happy to help work on this piece of legislation. As we know, the state of Missouri has a bit of a crisis in regard to child care facilities. This piece of legislation simply streamlines the process in helping programs that are in good standing expand or develop second locations. That way we can meet the need of families. I'd like to thank the bill's sponsor for working on this piece of legislation. I'd like to urge the body to vote in support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Lady from Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to thank the lady for working on this. I think this is another step in the way that we can help reduce, increase the child care and reduce the crisis that we have in our state. So thank you very much, lady. I support this.
Further discussion. Lady from St. Louis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To comment?
Proceed, lady.
This bill came through professional registration. It is a good way to streamline child care facilities, getting their temporary licenses so we can expand child care. We had multiple people testify in support, saying they've had such a hard time getting their temporary license they had to shut down. So thank you for bringing this forward and helping to address the child care shortage.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Taney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To inquire of the bill sponsor.
Does the bill sponsor yield?
Yes.
You may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, lady. How are you?
Good morning. I'm well. How are you?
I'm out super even. Does this bill cover mom and pops? Aunt so-and-so has been taking care of kids for the past 5 years. She's got 3 or 4 youngsters. Does she need a city inspection and fire codes and all this and that?
She would.
Oh, she would. So Aunt so-and-so couldn't babysit their nieces, nephews, the neighbors' 2 kids, and she's got 6 kids in her house. So this would involve the state coming in and inspecting the home, or no? Is this specifically for larger child care facilities?
This is for licensed providers, so it would only be for licensed providers.
Okay, so those that are unlicensed wouldn't come under the restrictions.
That is true. Right.
Okay,
correct.
I wanted to make sure of that. That's my only question.
All
Thank
right.
you, lady.
Thank you.
Further discussion. Lady from St. Louis, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To comment on the bill.
Proceed, lady.
Being on the Committee of Professional Registration and Licensing, I am in support of this bill, and I would like to ask the body to support it as well.
Further discussion. Seeing none. Lady from St. Charles, you're recognized to close.
I renew my motion.
The lady from St. Charles has renewed her motion for the adoption of House Committee substitute for House Bills 850, 53, and 42. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes have it. Lady from St. Charles.
I renew my motion.
The lady from St. Charles has renewed her motion that the House Committee substitute for House Bills 850, 53, and 42 be ordered, perfected, and printed. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes have it. You have perfected and printed House Committee substitute for House Bills 850, 53, and 42. Gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the lady from Buchanan for a motion on House Bill 269.
Lady from Buchanan, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Bill 269 be ordered, perfected, and printed.
The lady from Buchanan has moved for the perfection and printing of House Bill 269. Lady from Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the title of House Bill 269 be agreed to.
The lady from Buchanan has moved for the adoption of the title. Is there discussion on the title? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes have you adopted the title. Lady from Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, we have a child care crisis in our state. We're all familiar with it. I hear it from my constituents. I know many in this body hear it from their constituents about the lack of affordable, safe, reliable, quality child care in their area. And we hear from our business leaders across the state that they have trouble recruiting and retaining employees because of the lack of child care. In fact, 95 out of Missouri's 115 counties are considered child care deserts. And without child care, Missouri's economy cannot grow. Often I hear on this floor the debate on how to grow Missouri's economy. Well, the U.S. Chamber did a study on the effect of the lack of child care in our state. The study showed that Missouri lost about $1.35 billion of economic growth last year alone because of the lack of child care, which would equate about $280 million to Missouri's bottom line if we were able to collect our taxes on that increased amount of growth that we could have. So if we want to see Missouri's economy grow, we must tackle the child care crisis in our state. So House Bill 269 addresses these issues. It will provide the tools for our local communities to create the child care that they need in their community. This isn't government creating government-run child care, but business and people investing in the quality, safe, reliable, affordable care. And when they invest first, when our communities invest first in child care, then the government will invest as well. House Bill 269 has a three-pronged approach working to solve the child care crisis in the state. The first is a child care contribution tax credit, and this tax credit is designed to really create and design a new capacity of child care in our state. The second one is the employer-provided child care assistance tax credit. This tax credit is designed to encourage our businesses to help their employees pay for child care. And the third is a child care provider tax credit, and this tax credit goes to support our current child care providers by allowing them to be able to take some tax credits so they can increase their capacity or improve their facilities. First, I'd like to talk about all the common limitations that these tax credits have. All three of them are capped at $20 million, and if that $20 million is exceeded, it can increase by 15%, but only in those child care deserts that I addressed earlier. Each tax credit is capped at $200,000 per individual taxpayer. The tax credits are non-refundable and non-transferable. I know that's important to a lot of people in here. Each tax credit can be carried forward 6 years, and this program has a sunset in 6 years as well. The tax credit cannot be claimed by a contributing entity if they receive personal care for their own child for the contribution. All licensed and registered license exempt programs get to participate. This includes group homes, family homes, center-based, as well as all of our license exempt programs. And not-for-profits can also participate if they don't pay tax, because for them the tax credit would be refundable. So the first tax credit is called the Child Care Contribution Tax Credit. Businesses and individuals can donate to a child care facility and receive a tax credit. This can be used to improve existing child care facilities, can be used to help increase the salaries of the employees in the facility, or they can build new facilities. The second one is the Employer Contribution Child Care Tax Credit, and this one is really used to encourage our businesses to support their employees. They can build a child care facility on campus, or they can help fund the care of their employees' child care at an existing child care. And the last one is the Child Care Provider Tax Credit, and I really like this one the best. This goes to our providers that are already in the market right now. It allows them to make improvements to their facility, add a classroom, improve the restroom. All these projects have to be approved, but also they get to ask for a refund for their employees' payroll taxes at the end of the year if they have 3 employees that work at least 3 months out of the year and work 10 hours a week. This is very much like the Missouri Works program that we have right now. So we have a shortage of child care in this state. Our parents, our employers, our state and local chambers have shared their frustration with the lack of affordable, reliable, safe, quality child care that we have. When businesses look to states to relocate to grow their business, they study the state's infrastructure. Do they have the way to get their supplies to market? Do they have the way to get their finished products to market? Do we have the utilities for their business? And do they have the reliable workforce? So I truly believe that child care is building infrastructure so that we can tell those companies that want to come to our state, we have the roads, we have the way for you to get your supplies to your business, we have the way to get your finished product to market, we're going to have the utilities, and we're absolutely going to have that last thing you need, which is a workforce, because we will have reliable, quality, safe, affordable care for your employees. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
Discussion on House Bill 269. Lady from Cass, for what purpose do you rise?
To speak on the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, lady.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, this bill was passed out of the Economic Development Committee unanimously. It was an impactful hearing, and there were different demographics and groups that were all in favor of it. 80% of Missouri business leaders can cite that they have trouble finding child care facilities to keep significant numbers of their employees employed. Child care is indeed critical infrastructure that is needed to support business, attract, and retain. This means it is not just a woman's issue, it is an everyone issue. And I can speak on this because last year in Adrian, Missouri, one of the child care facilities caught on fire. It was the church, which is the biggest building in the city, and it caught on fire and burnt down. I had people calling me and saying, I can't work. I don't have anywhere to leave my children. So that is real. Thankfully, DESE worked with them very closely, and they got a new facility up and running. I can also comment as a single parent. I had a very good career, and there was opportunities for a promotion. I lived out of state. However, I was a single parent for 11 years, and I took a lateral move so I could have child care and reliable child care, because when I was out of state, I didn't have family. So I moved back and my career took a back seat because I didn't have adequate child care. And with all of this information, I urge the body to please vote yes on this. I strongly support it, and it is very much needed. Thank you.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Jackson, for what purpose do you rise?
To speak on the bill, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm looking forward to voting yes on this bill because it's going to make a real difference in the lives of parents, children, and the heroic child care providers around the state. The bill promotes economic development through targeted investment in child care infrastructure, and specifically on child care deserts, which will bring child care options to areas that need it most. This is just a drop in the bucket of what we as a body need to be doing to support kids and the folks that care for them. But I am excited to see this piece of legislation so early in session. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Gentleman from St. Charles, for what purpose do you rise?
To inquire the bill handler.
Does the bill handler yield? Lady from Buchanan, do you yield?
Absolutely.
To the gentleman from St. Charles, over this way. Hold your hand up so she can see you.
Sorry. Nice to see you.
You may
Nice to see
proceed.
you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, lady.
Good morning.
How are we doing today?
I am fantastic. Thank you.
Just a couple questions. You said that 2/3 of the counties in our state are child care deserts.
That is correct.
And could you just reiterate what is a child care desert? How is that measured?
There's a lot of different ways, that measurement happens, but the one that I think that people understand the most is for working families. There is only one slot for every 3 children under the age of 6. And that's just taking into account for working families. So if working families are trying to find care, there's 2 children out of every 3 that those parents can't find care for.
And if I leave my job voluntarily, does that status impact me at all?
Well, you're still in a child care desert. It's a measurement of the entire county.
And my day job, I run a nonprofit, so I would recoup this and then simply refund it. Is that how it would work for a nonprofit?
So if you're a not-for-profit, I assume I was a CEO of the United Way. So I did a survey in my community, and 97% of the people that worked in our non-for-profits were women. So that's why I decided that for nonprofits that the tax credit would be be refundable, because our not-for-profits don't pay taxes.
Right.
So there will be a form that you'll be able to turn in, and if you contribute or if you help your employees be able to afford care, because as I was putting this bill together, I got to thinking, wow, I would have hated to lose all of my great employees to go to work in industry some other place, because they said, that industry is going to help fund my child care for me. So I thought it was just as important for our not-for-profits to be able. So yes, you would fill out a form and be able to recoup the 30% of the expenses that you spent.
Okay, excellent. That helps, because I have a lot of nonprofits in my district, so that'd be very helpful. Thank you, lady. Mr. Speaker, permission to speak on the bill?
Proceed.
I can't support this legislation enough. In my city of St. Charles, one of the leading populations of homeless are single moms. My city did a study on this. These moms are spending all of their money on food and childcare, leaving nothing left for shelter. They're staying with family, with friends, or, God forbid, in a vehicle every night with a child or children. This will help my city, help our state. I wholly endorse this and encourage my colleagues to vote yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Christian, for what purpose do you rise?
To speak on the bill, sir.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me start off by saying that I grew up with a very good public school system in my district. I graduated from Ozark High School in 1988. They are a great, top-notch school. However, there is no reason that the government should be in competition with private industry. And by what we're doing here is we are allowing that to happen. In fact, we're growing that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. But the fact that we can't even keep up with the child care reimbursements as it is to our private industry child care providers, but yet we're wanting to go ahead and expand this down and to help our secondary and primary education systems even more so have the children longer for their lives. I don't see where this is a win-win, sir. I think there are other ways that we can go about this. I believe there's other ways we can help our child care providers There are other ways that we can help our single mothers or our parents that are having difficulty in finding childcare. I just don't believe helping our school systems be in direct competition with our daycares is the way to go, sir. And I wish that the body would vote against this. Thank you.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Lafayette, for what purpose do you rise?
Please.
Proceed, sir.
First of all, I want to compliment the bill handler because she took the time and looked at the return that the state is going to get on the tax credits. I have had individuals approach me saying, you know, look at the tax credit amount. Well, at the end of last session, I started, and I have been working with most, and I have now a 70-page bill that addresses tax credits. I apologize that I have not got it all finalized yet, but my point here is that tax credits need to be addressed like when I was in a banking business alone. If the tax credits out here are X number of dollars, what return are we going to get from the state? That's what we need to look at, not at the amount. Also, in working with most, I found some interesting information I'm going to share right now. In 2024, there in Missouri, there was $518.5 million in tax credits. I'm not for sure how many people knew that. I didn't. Also, of that tax credits, when they were redeemed, it was $906.9 million that was redeemed with the tax credits. And when I get the report finished, and most is not making a recommendation that we eliminate them or whatever. What basically they're saying is that there needs to be more accountability, and that the tax credits we have on file right now are very difficult to compare, and so there's going to be a lot of information there. I do know that there is additional legislation filed on tax credits, but again, I applaud the lady for sharing with us the return. The tax credits are needed in the state of Missouri, but I will be sharing with individuals in the next couple of weeks the most report. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Taney, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. Speaker, to speak on the bill.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think most of the people in the body understand my difficulty with some tax credits. Not all tax credits are equal. But in this case, I speak on behalf of the 156th district. The people that we have there are often lower income individuals that work maybe at an attraction, maybe at Silver Dollar City, maybe they sell popcorn in a concession at one of the theaters that we have. They're having difficulty providing for child care because of the cost. If this provides an incentive, one of the portions of this tax credit will allow someone to contribute to a facility that provides child care, and they could receive some sort of a tax credit at the end. I think this would encourage more people not only to actually have children because they know that they can maintain their income level, but that they would have a safe place to go where the kids can play, the kids can grow, and the kids can learn. So I understand being ideologically opposed to tax credits, but I think this would be of great benefit to my district and the state as a whole. So in this instance, I would encourage the body to support this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Seeing none, lady from Buchanan, you're recognized to close.
Well, typically I would just renew my motion, but I do want to make sure that the body understands that this is not child care created by the government, funded by the government. These are local child care providers, your home-based providers that are keeping a small number of children at home would qualify. Your group homes that keep 20 children, or your center-based facilities. This would all be done through private industry. I really want to thank the gentleman from the Branson area for speaking up on that, because our families are limiting the size of their families because child care is so expensive. Right now, infant care costs more than your freshman year at the university. So anything that we can do to make child care more affordable, asking our businesses to participate in the cost before government invests, I think is the only way that we can actually figure out how we can solve this child care crisis. And with that, I renew my motion.
The lady from Buchanan has renewed her motion for the perfection printing of House Bill 269. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. And the ayes have you perfected and printed House Bill 269. Gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Staying on that same order of business, I ask that you recognize the lady from Dunklin for a motion on House Committee Substitute for House Bills 177 and 469.
Lady from Dunklin, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Committee Sub for House Bill 177 and 469 be ordered printed or perfected and printed.
The lady from Dunklin has moved for the perfection and printing of House Bill 177. The lady from Dunklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that House Committee Sub for House Bill 177 and 469 be adopted.
The lady from Dunklin has moved for the adoption of House Committee Substitute for House Bills 177 and 469. Lady from Dunklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move that the title of House Committee Sub for House Bill 177 and 469 be agreed to.
The lady from Dunklin has moved for the adoption of the title. Is there discussion on the title? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And you've adopted the title. Lady from Dunklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House Committee Sub for House Bill 177 and 469 modifies the statutory authority of 208, which allows Missouri Health Net payments on behalf of needy persons for two things: medically necessary hearing instruments and cochlear implants. Hearing loss affects many in Missouri. In my family alone, my mother-in-law has a cochlear implant. My father has severe hearing loss. And really the ability to hear and communicate is critical to a person's independence. And with this legislation, we would be helping many Missourians who have hearing loss.
Discussion on House Committee Substitute for House Bills 177 and 469. Lady from St. Louis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just a reminder to the body, I am the other carrier of this bill, and it did go through the House last year and through committee in the Senate, but then as the Senate fell apart, it never got a hearing on the Senate floor. But also as a reminder of why hearing instruments and cochlear implants are so important. Aside from obviously the quality of life, social withdrawal, lack of education and job opportunities, it also increases your risk of falls, and a mild hearing loss triples your risk of falls, which, as you can imagine, in the elderly can be devastating. It also increases your risk of dementia. So a moderate hearing loss increases your risk of dementia by 3 times. So this bill will help more Missourians be better employed, have a better quality of life, and hopefully will reduce falls and dementia in the elderly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion. Lady from St. Louis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To comment?
Proceed, lady.
We heard this in the Health and Mental Health Committee, and it's a great bill, and I encourage the body to vote for it. Thank you.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Franklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To inquire of the bill handler.
Does the bill handler yield to the gentleman from Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Proceed.
Thank you, lady, for bringing this bill forward. Just a quick question. You talked about the expansion of this coverage within the MoHealthNet from the current eligible people to an expansion of all persons listed in Section 208. Could you just give us some examples of what this expansion might reach if this bill was to pass compared to its current, the way the current statute reads for only those that are blind? Could you just give us some examples of the potential of this expansion?
Yes. What this would do is any persons over the age of 18 through age 55. It would help those folks. So normally, if a child was covered, had a hearing loss and was covered at age 18, then they would no longer be covered. They would not, if their hearing aids broke, they would no longer be able to get that. This would bridge that gap from like 18, and then also, 18 to 55.
So the eligible expansion would really be age-based?
Yes.
The needy exceptions are still in place that were part of that?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, Representative. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Further discussion? Seeing none, lady from Dunklin, you're recognized to close.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The lady from Dunklin has renewed her motion for the adoption of the House Committee substitute for House Bills 177 and 469. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes clearly have it. Lady from Dunklin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I renew my motion.
The lady from Dunklin has renewed her motion for the perfection and printing of House Committee substitute for House Bills 177 and 469. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes have it. You have ordered the House Committee substitute for House Bills 177 and 469 perfected and printed. Gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Next order of business will be announcements.
Announcements. Seeing gentleman from Bates.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this order, introduction of special guest.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you. On a day talking about child care and so many good things going on across the state, we have a school group to my left and your right in the upper gallery from the Harmony Mennonite School. They're getting a good tour of the building and working with many things that involve in our legislature. So I ask the body to make them feel welcome.
Welcome to the House. Gentleman from Buchanan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for an announcement. I'd like to remind everybody that tonight or this afternoon for lunch, the representative from Cape and myself will be serving lunch up for donations for the women's legislators. So I hope to see you all down there and tip accordingly. Thank you.
Lady from St. Louis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Announcement.
Proceed.
Thank you. As mentioned, tonight is the State's Woman of the Year benefit at the Farmers Bureau, as well as the auction supporting the Women's Legislative Caucus Scholarship Fund. So we hope to see you and your checkbooks there. Thank you.
Further announcements, lady from St. Louis.
Yes, an announcement.
Proceed.
On tomorrow, again, Missouri Black Caucus will have their history program at 6 p.m. Be there, 6 p.m.
Gentleman from St. Charles.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. An announcement.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to let everyone know that your Committee on Local Government will be meeting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning in Hearing Room 5.
Further announcements. Gentleman from Clay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From microphone not my own.
Proceed.
Your Committee on Transportation will meet at 4:30 in Hearing Room 7.
Further announcements. Seeing none. Gentleman from Green.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Upon return, members should be prepared to consider House Bill 810, House Committee Substitute for House Bill 943, House Bill 121, House Committee Substitute for House Bill 236. And with that, I move that the House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, February 26, 2025.
The gentleman from Green has moved that the House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Wednesday, February 26, 2025. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. And the ayes have it. We are adjourned.